In previous videos in this playlist, I showed you how to get NBA court data and NBA shot data into QGIS. So in this video, what I've done is I've imported all shot data for 20 seasons from 2003-04 to 2022-23. The link's in the description where you can get this data, and if you want to catch up to this point, you can watch the previous videos. But I'd advise you to only try doing all the data if your computer's quite good. Otherwise, it might be quite slow. I've loaded all the data in for 20 years. If you don't want to do this, you can just do 1 year, year by year. And the link to the CSV data is in the description. And like I said, see the previous videos. So one of the things I like to do is when I get data, I like to have a look at it, get a sense of whether it's right, does it make sense? And then I can have more confidence or sometimes less confidence in it as I work with it. NBA data is pretty high quality. And once you plot the points, you can see it generally makes sense. So on screen, I've got all shots. So there's just over 4 million shots over that 20-year period. So I've styled it with blue, fairly basic, but it's just a massive blob of points. And you can see the further away you get from the basket, the fewer shots there are. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the layer in the layers panel and go to filter. And there's a number of different fields. So these are columns in the data table. A number of different fields we can filter by. So if I go to basic zone and double click it and hit equals and then all, that's going to list all possible shot zones that are recorded in the data. So in this case, I'm going to look at backcourt. So I'm going to look at those shots that were taken beyond the halfway line. So I'll double click that. The expression is basic zone equals backcourt. And if I click test, it will test the expression, but I know it's correct, so I'll just click OK. And then obviously we get shots beyond the halfway line, but we also see a number of shots pretty much under the basket. And obviously if they're from beyond half court, that doesn't really make sense. So what I would usually do now is just have a look. So I'll highlight it using the select features tool. I'll highlight those just to give me a sense of what these are. Are these errors? Are these not half court shots? Or is there some other explanation? So if I open the table, I can hit F6 or I can hit open attribute table here. I'll be able to see what the actual story is. In the bottom left of the attribute table, I can click on show selected features, and that's going to just show the features I've selected. If I scroll to the right, I'll be able to get a measure of the shot distance, which is in the shot distance column. So if I click it, anything there, shot distance 42 feet. So half court from the basket half court is like 41.75 feet. So these are all half court shots. And the furthest away one is 88 feet. So they're all right. It's just that when the data's been recorded, it's put the point in the wrong place. So they are half court shots. Another thing I'll probably do is, let me just filter the data a bit further. I'll change the table to show all features. I'll close the table. I'll deselect features. I'm going to filter again. Now there were 8,387 half-court shots. Let's see how many were made. I'll click on the filter, and after the existing expression, I'll click and I'll go down to shot made. So I'll double click shot made equals, and if I hit all, it's going to be true or false. So shot made is true in this case because I'm looking for all shots from the backcourt that were made. So there were 8,387 taken. There won't be many that were actually successful. Click OK. We get 208 shots. Okay, some of them are still under the basket. So let's have a little look at what's going on. I want to make sure that this is right. Let's see what the furthest away one was. So I will go to show selected features. I'll scroll to the right to see shot distance. So the furthest one was by Devonte Graham, and if we scroll to the right, we can see that that was in the fourth quarter with 0 minutes and 0 seconds left. So that sounds quite exciting. A game winner. And we can check this. This is a great thing about NBA data. We can check it really easily on YouTube. Let me pause the video for a second and pull that in. Here we go. End of the game. I will hit play. There's the shot. Off the backboard, game winner. So we can see that data under the basket is correct. The point location is just not quite right. So I will click on show all features. I'll close the table. I'll deselect features. And you know, we can do all sorts of things if we want to analyze this further. I could export this data. So if I right click the layer, export, save features as, I can then save it as a CSV or an Excel file. For example, if I wanted to do a quick analysis of who's hit the most half-court shots. Pretty sure Steph Curry's got at least 6, maybe 7. And we could do all sorts of other things. The furthest away one in all this time under the basket there, that was Vince Carter in 2016. So let's take a look at that. I've clicked on the point. It says it was Memphis Grizzlies against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Backcourt shot. It's got it under the basket, but let's have a little look to see where the shot was actually taken. Nice shot there by an NBA legend, and it wasn't quite exactly where the point was, but you know, not too bad. So just a little reminder here in this video that when you've got data, any kind of data, NBA or otherwise, once you've got it plotted, it's always good to explore it a bit, filter it, look for patterns, try and find things that maybe don't make sense and could be wrong, but maybe aren't wrong. And with NBA data, doing it by location like this is quite useful. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. You're getting a sense of the data and you can apply some of these in your own work.